Hello, my name is Oliver Glanz and I'm a professor of Old Testament at Andrews University. In this video tutorial I would like to show you how to get started with accordance by looking at some very basic features, namely how to open texts, how to arrange those texts in a screen arrangement that really serves the purpose of your, for example, sermon preparation or your research that you're carrying out. Finally, we're going to have a look at how to save that screen arrangement so that it's available also at later moments when you resume your work. So let's go here to our virtual machine, fire up accordance. Let's close all the windows that we have open here. Okay, so now would like to see how to open text in accordance. You do that in two ways, either by clicking on this library sign, which gives you kind of a shelf with also graphical display of the different resources that you own. You could double click here, for example, on the ESV, and there the ESV opens for you. Another way of opening your resources is by clicking on this plus sign, where you basically have all the resources listed as well, but here they are categorized in a more direct way. So you have modern Bibles, Greek text, Hebrew text, dictionaries, commentaries, and so on. So let's open here the ESV. Now if you want to open a parallel text, for example, the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, you cannot now click here on plus and say Hebrew text Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. If you would do that, your text would appear in a different tab. So you see ESV and the Hebrew Bible are not showing up in the same window, but that's what we want. So in order to do that, in order to really have text being opened within the same tab and being parallelly available, you click on Add Parallel. So this is the only way how to get there. Add Parallel, and then text, and we wanted to have the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. Here it is. Okay, good. Now, since we're working also with original, or with source text, with Hebrew and Greek source text, it is handy to have the Instant Details window open. So go here on Window, then on Instant Details, and now you see that here at the bottom our instant detail window appears. So with every word that I'm hovering over, for example here bara, will be the morphological information will be provided here in this instant detail window, verb, card, perfect, third masculine singular, then a little gloss created, and well, the lexical form of that particular word. Elohim, you see Elohim, and then we see our morphological information again, and then a little gloss. So that's quite handy. You can actually rearrange that instant detail window by clicking on this little sign, which switches this into a vertical orientation. Well, whatever you prefer, clicking on this button allows you to activate either a horizontal or a vertical way of looking at the instant details. Okay, good. So let's open further text so that I can show you how to tie and untie different texts. So we click here on Add Parallel, and let's say we want to have the NRSV as well. Where is it? Here it is, NRSV. Now you see we have the ESV and the NRSV open. We can now activate a certain text window by just clicking in it. So now I clicked on the NRSV, you see the blue frame that appears here, and once it's activated I can actually drag and drop that text and move it anywhere where I want. For example, I want to move it here right besides the ESV, and let's activate the Biblia Hebraica text, and let's move that all the way to the left. Okay, so what you're seeing here is when I'm scrolling in one text, all the other texts are going with me. This is very convenient, especially when you want to run or read parallel. However, sometimes you actually want to have those texts untied because you want to compare different text positions. Like now we have Genesis 1 verse 1 everywhere. Perhaps you want to have a look at the NRSV at John chapter 1 verse 1. So I'm moving here to the NRSV and then say John 1. Now what happens is now all texts go to John chapter 1 verse 1. This is not what we want. We just want one text to go to John chapter 1, and the other text we want to be remaining at Genesis 1 verse 1. So in order to do that, you click here on this little sign and then click anti-scrolling. Once you've clicked anti-scrolling, the text that you have untied is now basically free, disconnected from any other text. So you see this can be scrolled without the other text scrolling with you. However, here those texts are still tied to each other. So I could now go to the NRSV and say I want to go to John 1. And you see here we have John 1 here and Genesis 1 here, and we could now compare those texts if we wanted. So this is how you basically open text, arrange them in the way you want. Let's say you are really enjoying this screen arrangement and you want to save it because you don't want to build that screen arrangement every time you open Accordance. You can do that by clicking on File and then Save As, and then you can give it a name. So let's call this Sermon About Beginnings. So when I close Accordance, I can either open Accordance like normally, and you see my original text display that I just put so nicely together with the Hebrew text here and then the ESV here and the NRSV here has disappeared. But fortunately I saved my screen arrangement. You see here the button, Sermon About Beginnings. If I double click on this, I have my screen arrangement back there as I wanted them. So what is important is that you, at least that would be my suggestion, that you configure your screen in such a way that it serves the purpose of your particular research, and then save that screen arrangement for later for a later resumption of the work. Now a nice way of doing this is when you go to the library and you move all the way down here, you see My Workspaces. My Workspaces is a way of graphically also making available your particular screen arrangements. Now if you want to have your workspace show up in this section, you have to go on File, then New Workspace. You click on New Workspace. So now New Workspace opens. So let's get this out of the way. A new workspace opened, and let's add here the Biblia Hebraica and the Septuagint. Let's say this is an Old Testament project, and if you like this arrangement, then you can now save it as a new workspace. File, Save, and now you call that workspace, let's say Genesis 1 Exegesis. Now I have saved the screen arrangement as a workspace. This means that it will show up in my library overview. So when I go all the way down, you see here the workspace Genesis 1 Exegesis. So that's kind of handy if you want to have an overview on all the workspaces that you have within your library overview. This is the way to go, and it's yeah, really helpful. Yeah, so here for example I can open a workspace that I have created, English Studies. This is the workspace, and anything else, research. I'm sure what I have put together here. Okay, well there I was actually searching something. Okay, good. So I hope this was helpful for you. You saw how to open text, how to arrange text, how to save text arrangements, and allow it to work efficiently with your Accordance screen arrangements. Thank you very much.